Hi everyone, welcome to today's video. And in this video, I will be covering the difference between a raster image and a vector image. So before I begin, I would like to also tell you that when you will be working with graphics, there will be a time where you will be using photos to make your illustrations, right? So sometimes what happens is that when you enlarge a particular photo, it gets pixelated and looks something like this over here, right? So, and it doesn't really look good as well when you enlarge it because there's a loss of quality, right? Whereas when you use an image which is a vector image, it doesn't really lose quality even if you enlarge it as how big you want or how small you want. So you will be dealing with a lot of these type of images, and it's important to know which type of image will suit best for your creative. So coming to the difference now, the first difference, as I just stated, is that raster images is usually made up of a lot of small pixels, right? So even if you enlarge it, after a point it's bound to lose its quality and it's going to look something like this over here. So the more you enlarge it, the more quality it loses, right? Whereas vector, it's actually composed of paths, and it's usually made in Adobe Illustrator, or that image is made in Photoshop as well. So no matter how big or small you make your image, it will not at all lose its quality, and it's going to remain this smooth, right? So now the second difference between raster and vector is that raster images, they tend to occupy more space depending how big the image size is. The bigger the image size, the more space is going to take, and it's going to take more time to load in your document. Whereas vector images, they load much more faster and they occupy lesser space irrespective of where you save it, right? Raster images cost a lot less. So even if you have to go and purchase it from a particular website, raster images you will see that it's comparatively much more cheaper as compared to vector images. And the most common file extension of a raster image, you will see it's always saved in a JPEG format. So all these images that you usually click from your camera or from a DSLR, it's almost on most occasions saved in a JPEG format. So that's a raster image, right? So some raster images can also be saved in a GIF format. You know those small animated motions, right? Which is saved in a GIF format. That's also raster. Whereas the file extensions for vector, it's usually in an AI format, which is Adobe Illustrator, PDF, and also DXF. So while us designers, when we are designing any type of illustration, we actually prefer this vector image more as compared to raster images. Well, mainly because it's flexible to use and it doesn't really have any upper or lower limit. So it's very similar to one of the points that I had mentioned, that you can enlarge it or make it smaller according to the illustration you're making. Whereas when you're designing for a web page, then raster images are more preferred there. So it can be used for printing purposes as well. So if you want to get anything printed, then it's preferred that you get a raster image printed. And when you get it printed, there will be no loss of quality as well. Whereas there is a chance that vector images might lose its quality when it's printed. So you might see that there is some type of discoloration when you get vector images printed. So that's that. So this was the difference between a raster and a vector image. So just be careful while you're downloading any type of image. Just make sure that it's of high quality and it doesn't really lose its quality when you're using it in your illustration. So thank you for watching and stay tuned.